Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're doing well as I always do under these very, very difficult circumstances. We are now at episode 22 of Daily Live Chat along with John. So hopefully there's some people in the chat waiting to talk. But for those who are new to the channel, welcome. It's great to see you. This is a regular occurrence every single evening at 6:30. It's an open Q&A, as you would have seen from the opening video as well, for that matter. So again, there's not a lot really to talk about, so let's have your questions as always. But as I say, this is an open platform for questions all the time. It doesn't have to be football, it could be absolutely anything. You guys would have seen I'm hoping you guys would have seen the news earlier today that the death rate has dropped significantly over the last 24 hours. It's 130 people died over the last 24 hours, which is still quite a lot of people, of course, due to this condition. But this is it's fantastic. The numbers of people in hospital are 11,000 and something now. Huge drop over the last couple of weeks. Still just under 10% of everybody tested has had coronavirus. So we've still got a long way to go, but guys, we're starting to see the wood for the trees now. It really, really is good. I'm absolutely loving it. So let's have a look to see who's everybody that's in the chat. Even Mark, good evening, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Sofian's in. Remember our conversation, fella. Rick, likewise, hello, mate. I need both of you to keep an eye out tonight, because I've got Sundays are always strange for some random reason. Mark says evening, JP. PB says hello, mate. Peter Jones says evening, JP. Thank you very much. Mark Kerslake say weather is as always, mate. Damn hot. This is what I'm going to come to that in a minute, mate. You'll be eating your words in a minute. John O'Connor says evening. Nick says, Squire, hello, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Jay says his death rate always low, come Wednesday up again. Not always the case, but I know what you mean. John saying it's pretty bad in Africa. It's pretty bad all over the world, mate, to be honest with you. There's 4.7 million people have got this condition. 4.7 million. 1.5 million of those is the US. So it's a real shame. Yeah, all right. Come on, just hold your horses, you lot. And hello, Mick. Good to see you, fella. Right, for those who are under the age of 25 and can have patience for more than 33.5 minutes, it is currently, obviously, the result earlier today is FC Cologne 2, Mainz 2, and Bayern Munich are beating Union Berlin away 1-0 at 72 minutes in so far. But yeah, Mark, to come to your little quip about the temperature, mate. We're getting a heat wave next week, which is really, really good. It's going to be, they're estimating that the temperatures are going to be up to 27 degrees. So that's going to be beautiful. It's really, really going to be nice. It really is going to be fun. So make sure, guys, if you are going to be out in that, because it's going to be hot. I say 27 is more like 30 for where Mark is over in Cyprus. So it's going to be very, very hot. Very, very hot. I'm absolutely loving that. Sofian asks, Lewandowski or Aguero? Aguero all day long for me, mate. It'd be interesting to see what everybody else is talking about as well. Sofian says the Mainz game was so good, so attacking. Do you know what? That's fine. I didn't watch any football this week today. I haven't watched it. I'm not in the mood. I'm not interested. I'm really not interested, to be fair. I'm really not interested. Ben with a cryptic message, but hello, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're all right. Mark says get the beers in for next weekend. Yep, 100%. John O'Connor says it's dropped a lot in London, but they're still really bad up north of England. Agreed. Yeah, they have, mate. It's like 24, 25 cases confirmed for yesterday. Excuse me. Cheers, guys. And just to make sure if anyone's wondering, there you go. So West Ham mug out again. Sophie says I'm not interested. No, I'm not, because at the end of the day, it was awful to watch the game behind closed doors for teams I have no vested interest in. And I'm sure if and when Andy joins us, he'll be saying exactly the same thing. Mark says, I'm glad for you, mate. Slight little smiley face. John O'Connor asks, if you have any stadium as West Ham's, what would it be? If you could have any stadium as West Ham's, take us back to the bowling, mate. Of course, that's the whole thing. But yeah, there's no stadium I'd like to see us playing more than that, unfortunately. But PB says, what is your favourite West Ham game of all time? I'd probably have to say my favourite of all time. It's probably actually the Brighton game when we were in the Championship with Vazte's hat trick. We beat him was it 4-1 or 5-1, something like that? It was brilliant. That was my favourite. That was the best weekend. Had an amazing week Friday night, the night before. And then we going on to see West Ham win that way as well. That was sublime, absolutely sublime. Sofian says, "Yeah, you will probably be watching Dortmund versus Bayern in 2 weeks." No, mate, I'm not interested. Just because you are doesn't mean I'm. Some people are, some people aren't. Andy isn't as well. He made that clear. I wanted to see what it would be like, and it's not. Ben Davis says that's Aguero's first name. Hope you're well, JP. I'm all right, mate. Yeah, so yeah, that could have meant anything. You could have misspelt something as well, for that matter. Sofian keeps talking about this. Did you watch the Hammers Chat video? No, I'm not. I've mentioned this before, Sofian. Right? I'm not interested in the stuff about the last game of the bowling. I was there. I don't want to go through that again. I'm never ever going to watch. I haven't watched the replay of it. I haven't, and I'm not going to watch Hammers Chat videos. And I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, as it always is. They make some quality content, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not watching it. Mark goes, Gio and Gonzo's video earlier on the last game at the bowling was excellent. Yep. Sophie says he was at the Brighton game. I remember it, yes. Rich Ritesh's Chelsea versus West Ham 1-0 away win. I'm guessing this season you're talking about, mate. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. John O'Connor says Atlantis Stadiums is cool in America, so Seattle Sounders Stadium, also Borussia Dortmund Stadium is amazing. I wasn't all that impressed with it, mate, to be honest with you, from what I saw on the telly yesterday. Not in them. Darren Hagen says, what, no weather update tonight? He has, unfortunately, Darren. Good to see you, mate. 39 degrees in Bangkok. John agrees with me. I'm not that interested in Bundesliga. I'm a one-club team. I think he's a one-club man. I think that's what he means. Mark says, I was a chief steward and supervisor from 95 to 2002. What stand were you in, JP? I wasn't there at that point, unfortunately, Mark. My season ticket, I started going a little bit later than that, but I was in Bobby, but I'm, as I still am now, Bobby Moore lower, as always. Gary, good evening, mate. I'm all right. I'm doing better, thank you, mate. I hope you're doing okay as well. Borussia Dortmund have an incredible stadium. They had 84,000. Numbers mean nothing. Numbers mean absolutely nothing. If you haven't been there, you can't say if it's a good stadium or not. It looks impressive on telly, but all stadiums look impressive when they're empty. Mark says hard to beat the chicken run. I understand that. Unfortunately, I never got to sit in the chicken run, mate. But yeah, it was. I know a lot of my mates are season ticket holders. Were in the chicken run. Okay, so now, as everybody knows, I should be sitting here talking about West Ham versus Aston Villa, because that fixture was supposed to be today. It was supposed to be the last game of the season. Now, you know, which brings me quite nicely round to stories that have come out recently about that Steve Bruce has been saying as well, for that matter. It's been all over the the BBC website, and it was all over the Daily Mirror as well, for that matter. He's basically saying Steve Bruce is basically saying that he wants the Project Restart to be delayed by at least a week or so, just for the health of the players. And I understand it. I completely get his point of view. Guys, let me know what you think. I mean, do you think, because obviously players have started to return to individual training over the last week or so, and now it's coming back to things as well, for that matter. So, what are your thoughts on when it should start? I mean, it's inevitable that it is, because if it's going to happen in the Bundesliga, as awful as it is, and as uninteresting as it is, how when do you want to see it? Do you want to see it in the middle of June, as they're talking about? Would you like to see it a little bit later? Would you like to see it in the start of July? Let me know your thoughts on it. Rich Richard says West Ham versus Aston Villa. We won it 3-0. John O'Connor says, I think they should put all the games on YouTube as in the club's channel, as most people can't get to the games as they're far too expensive, I think it means. And I don't know what that word's supposed to be, John. Initiatives? People to stay at home. Incentivizes, I think he means, people to stay at home watching it on YouTube. Well, it's not going to happen, John, because we talked about this the other night. It's going to be split between Amazon, Sky, who's getting the majority of it, BT Sport, and a few games on the BBC. Sophie, and I think we need to talk about things after this broadcast, mate. Rick says, I want to start the first week for July, but I don't think it will happen. And that's intisis. I don't know what that's not a word, mate. I'm afraid. Mark says, I just want to see it safe and competitive. JP, it starts when it is able to. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, Mark. It's a never-ending circle. I mean, obviously tomorrow is going to be the big meeting between the EFL, the Premier League, and the Football Association on their guidances. So whenever we'll talk about what happens in that meeting tomorrow evening, as always. Mick asks, is there a timescale play when it's ready, not before? Well, the timescale is, Mick, as I said, it's meant to be, it was originally meant to be the 12th of June, and now it's looking like the 19th of June, and now it possibly maybe a little bit later. It again depends on the meeting that happens on Monday. And for those that are watching live, it's now. It's basically tomorrow. So for those watching the replay today or yesterday, whenever you're watching this, but yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. PB says, I think I should go ahead at this. I think it should go ahead at the start of July, if at all. Agreed. John O'Connell says it won't happen, John, but it is what it. But that's what I would like. All they care about is money, not about the people. Agreed. It is, mate. Always has been. Andy's in. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Nick White Thompson says, personally, I believe the Premier League should be scrapped. It's not really safe, and it's not as interesting without fans. Just give Liverpool the title. Can't argue with that in any shape or form, mate. It's going to be absolutely awful. Darren says, you can have a great day out and watch a match with 10,000 people, Sophie, and the bigger not always best, or maybe I'm an old git. Well, you are, but yeah, you make a good point there, mate. I say, Sophie, and we'll talk about things off after this, all right? Because I'm not going to get into it now, because it should be quite obvious. Andy's all good. That's good. Okay, so say, guys, there's not really much to talk about, bar a couple of other things that we don't really need to talk about. But it was interesting to see that before the FC Con game, it's interesting to see what was happening there, because Bayern Munich now 2-0, 83rd minute, before Nick asks again. Yeah, it's. Sorry, where was I going with it? Yeah, because before the game, there was a sofa put outside the club stadium that read in, I'm guessing in German, said "stadium" instead of "sofa," and against ghost games. Now, I completely agree with them. I completely agree with them. It's fantastic that people are making their voices known. But no, it's really good. Sophie asks, is it possible for Match of the Day to show Bundesliga highlights? No, it's not. They don't have rights to international football. They only have rights to England games and highlights to the Premier League and the Championship. It's the way it works. John O'Connell asks, John, favourite landmark in the world? I'd have to. Well, I've not been there yet, but I'd have to say the first thing that springs to mind is the Egyptian pyramids. Beautiful pieces, and nobody is able to get that. Get how they did it thousands and thousands of years ago without the aid of people. Can't do it in the modern technology now. So it's absolutely incredible how people things are how people were able to do it. But Sophie also asked, "Will BT do something like that?" Well, they probably will do, because they've got the rights to it. That's why they're broadcasting the games. John O'Connell asks, Haaland or Mbappe? I'll say Haaland, mate. I'm really, really impressed with that kid from what he was doing yesterday. As I say, I haven't seen much of Mbappe, but for me, he's it's brilliant. It really is. Darren says Haaland for him as well. Andy says it's the same as me. BT own the rights to German footy in this country. But yeah, I know, but still, then why ask the question if that's the point? Because why don't BT do it then? Because they only have the rights to broadcast. They probably don't have the rights to repeat the highlights. John O'Connor says, I thought Bundesliga have Sky Sports Bundesliga. Sorry, mate, that doesn't make any sense. I'll tell you, I'm guessing you didn't mean to put Bundesliga twice. I thought Sky Sports have Bundesliga. But it's all guys, this is what you need to understand, okay? When it comes to broadcasting, it's because there are different rights for live broadcasts and there are different rights for highlights. BT and Sky have probably only got the rights to certain things. They don't have rights to everything. It's a very, very complicated thing. And again, as Neil said the other week, Google is a fantastic thing when you're looking to find out information like this. John O'Connor says, Helen, for me, he speaks English quite, so he's quick, tall, and the right mentality. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. So that you never know what's going to happen with that kid. I reckon he's going to stay in Germany his entire career, but you never know what's going to happen. Do you think Bruno Fernandes is overrated? I think he is. Bruno Fernandes. I think he's all right. I haven't seen much talk about him, to be fair. So because I concentrate on the real world, I don't sit on Twitter and Facebook all the time, unfortunately. So BT show highlights on YouTube, by the way. What was that in general, or are you just talking about your actual question? And Mark says, yeah, they have a goal show. Yeah, which is basically highlights. Sophie asks, have you seen Alan's interviews? No, he's so funny. No, I haven't. Because for the Dan says, I think Bruno Fernandes has started well. He has. I think it's all right. I think it's okay. Baby said, if you could sign any player, who would it be? Oh God, I would honestly sign. I'd sign Damari Gray. That's the first person that comes to mind. I'm not interested in big fancy players. West Ham's not that sort of club. We're a club of supporters where we like grafters. We don't like the big flash. We know it's obviously fun to see it, but traditional West Ham supporters are more interested in players that play decent football and not the big names. John says, I don't have social media, John. It's just a question. I understand that, but at the same point, mate, it's just more case of anything. It just depends on. I mean, you haven't given any substantiation as to why you think he's overrated. So that's why it's difficult. I don't know your context. You have to give context when you're asking a question like that. Mixed Match says, away from football, have you a favourite European city? France. I love Spain. Paris is my favourite city in Europe. I've been there a few times. Second favourite is Barcelona. I've only been there once, but I absolutely love that place. Sophie says Bundesliga highlights on YouTube. Said, well, so that kind of contradicts your question earlier, mate. If you're asking what about it, then you can watch it on YouTube. So I'm not really sure. Sophie says Damari Grays has a bad attitude. He had kicked up a fuss at Leicester. I watched Leicester fan channel. Okay, so fair enough. What was he kicking up about? Jonathan asks, do you watch Blue Van Man? No. I don't know what that program is. I've never heard of that before. Mark says Barcelona is a beautiful city. Yeah, that's fine. Agreed. It is. It's beautiful, especially the I can't never remember the name, but the church that is permanently being built. It's ridiculous. So Sophie says, don't have to have social media to be fair. To be honest, pundits rate him highly too, but I don't think he should have got in the BBC Team of the Season vote so far. But again, context, please, guys. Jonathan said, did you hear, I'm guessing, Barack Obama supports West Ham. His sister lives or lived in London, was watching West Ham. Obama was there and got interested in West Ham. It might not be true, but still cool. Yes, apparently he was. He visited his, it was his, I think you're right. It was his cousin. And she was watching football. I think it was Match of the Day or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And he was sitting there and he was watching the game and he said he was actually quite enjoyed watching it. And so he did like what he was saying. Mark Closer says, when you came to Cyprus, which area did you stay in, mate? It's just around the corner from Coral Bay. Not the nicest of places, but the hotel was cool. Interested in a lot of ways about the architecture around there. Is to say we didn't get into the famous city that's just around the corner. I can't remember its name now, but it was very 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 interesting in it. But I love this. I love the island. More specifically, again, showing my age here, and Andy and Mick and possibly Mark will know what I'm talking about. Is the fact that there was a children's program back in the 80s based on a very very good novel of the same name called My Family and Other Animals, with Brian Blessed was in it. And there's a couple of other people that I couldn't remember that was in it as well. It was a very very good channel. Very very good program, and it was all filmed in Cyprus. And I was in love with that program when I was younger, and yeah, it was brilliant. And I've always wanted to go there. So I will be going back to Cyprus at some point, mate. I certainly will. Mick says not been Barcelona, love Paris and Berlin and Prague. Mick, first opportunity you get, mate, when everything grinds back to normal, do it. Absolutely do it. Go to Barcelona. It's lovely. Mandy will love it as well, for that matter. It's a lovely city. Really, really cool people. Some very funny characters around there as well. Very, very good. Andy says, hang on. I'll come back to you. Andy says, went to Barcelona for my brother's stag do, which incorporated going to watch MotoGP at the Catalonia track. Great weekend, very drunk. No, you bloody well should have been very drunk, mate. should have been absolutely blissed for that. But no, that sounds cool. It sounds like a really, really good. John O'Connor says favorite guitar, John. Well, that's a twofold question. Favorite one out of the guitars that I own is my Gibson SG Junior, which I absolutely love. And favorite guitar I've always wanted to own is the Gibson ES335, I think it is, the Dot. It's beautiful. Absolutely love that guitar. Mick Smith, favorite London. Favorite London what? London City or? John asks, do I like Boris Johnson? I don't like him or dislike him. I haven't really got any feelings about him, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view. John also asks, favorite TV show. What I'm currently watching of all time, it's Cheers. I'm currently watching. Actually, I'm not watching anything at the minute. So yeah, it's just Cheers. Gary Margerson said, I don't remember that program. I was born in 71, so you might have been a little bit too. You would probably been at college when that was on. In that case, yes, that's it. Paphos, misspelling, but yes. I guess that's the way that the locals spell it. I live in Foranos, other end of the island near Portoratus, where Nobes normally comes on holiday every year in June. Not that you're stalking him, Mark, in any shape or form. John says Spain is very cliche, nice place, but very, very cliche. Why? Why is it cliche? Henry Richard says you people need to go to the West Indies, mate. I need to go to a lot of places. A lot of places. Okay. What else? Now, Reece Oxford was in the stories earlier today. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on him, guys. Where basically he was saying that West Ham made him the player that he is, but in order to progress, he had to move on. Do you guys agree with it? Now, I know we've talked about Reece a few times beforehand, and I mean, I love the kid. I think he was very, very talented, but there's a lot of attitude still there from the full article that I read earlier today. But at the same point, I can see why what he said, because he had to. He has really sort of got very arrogant, and he's now sort of he seems to be calming down. He seems to be calming down from that side of things, from what I've been reading over the last year or so with various interviews that he's had. But it still angers me a little bit. John says F is for family, Afterlife, In Between the Simpsons and Mandalorian, and much more of great shows. Jay says I need a holiday. Southend will do. Come on, mate, you can't be that desperate, surely. John O'Connor says Trump or Hillary. Mate, I'm not in. I'm exactly, Jay. Yeah, John, please, no politics, because that can cause arguments. Mark says Oxford hasn't progressed. Compare his attitude to Rice's. Agreed. Very much so. Agreed. Now, guys, we're halfway through the video. We're halfway through the hour now. So we just want to say thank you very much to everybody that's been watching these videos. It's fantastic as always. It's always great to engage with people in the chat. There's almost a third of you guys that have been watching these videos over the last 4 weeks are not subscribed. So that equates to roughly about 40, maybe 50 people. So if you are liking what you're watching, then by all means, please do consider subscribing, because if everybody that is watching this clicks the subscribe button that isn't subscribed, then we'll be very, very close. We'll be very, very close to the target of 1,600 to get the full live gig that I promised you guys, and I will stand by it. I will absolutely do it. So if you are watching this and you're not already subscribed, if you're watching the replay, or some of you guys that are in the chat now that aren't subscribed, then please do so. Because I say you'll obviously know when these content is going up as well. Like, for example, towards the end of the stream last night, more people were coming in very quickly, left very quickly as well, because the end of the stream was coming to an end. But so if you do hit the notification bell when you do subscribe, then you will know when these videos are going up. YouTube's notification system has changed recently. They did a lot of background work on the YouTube studio, so you can't really promote this an hour before this goes live. It pretty much promotes it as it goes live, which is a real pain. But yeah, as Mark says, no double entendre here at all. So hit the subscribe button and the guitar will come out. Mixed message: Oxford seemed to fall out with love with West Ham, and we fell out of love with him. Agreed, Mick. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we gave him too much before he could handle it. He was trying to fly before he could crawl, and it was a bad mistake from the club. Bad mistake. And Mark says, "No, hopefully backing singers." John O'Connor says, "Do I like theme parks?" I'm guessing to everybody else as well, for that matter. But do you like theme parks? Yes, I do. I think they're great fun. He said Henry says about races that he's not in a very good league. Just have a dig at us because it didn't work. I'm guessing work out for him. Oh, Mo, hello, mate. YouTube, let's get like a spike. Don't know what you mean by that. And sub to JP's channel. Look how tired he looks, mate. Come on. I had a very nice sleep last night, actually, you cheeky bugger. I'm 40 now, remember? That's probably why I look tired. Dan says, not sure about Oxford. It depends on what he considers progression. Just hope he's enjoying life. John O'Connor says, watched Friday Night Dinner yet, John? No, I haven't. Mate. I would certainly have a look for it after we do this, but I'm not a person that sits in front of the telly all day. I really am not, especially when we got weather like this. I know there's not a lot we can do, granted, and especially as well, but you know, especially in your neck of the woods, mate. But as I said, you know, there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do, of course. But I'm not a person that sits in and watches telly all day. I can't do it. I've not been able to do it since my mid-20s. It's difficult, really, really is difficult. But I will definitely be keeping an eye out for it, fella. You know, because the weekends I like to try and relax, and next week I'm hoping to do some work, because I need to get back to normality, for such as it is. But guys, as I've said beforehand, when I say I've been suffering with depression, it's not me just being pissed off with things. It is legitimate depression. So the last thing you want to be doing is sitting around watching telly all day. Trust me. You need to go out and get some exercise and some fresh air as well, for that matter. So come on, guys. You've got 25 minutes left. Let's see if we can get more of a conversation battling on. So it's about literally anything. And just looking at the Bayern Munich result, it's 2-0 to Bayern over Union Berlin, I should say. Sharon B says, hello, sweethearts. Good to see you. Henry says, 40 soon. You will be getting up at all hours for 40 soon. I am 40, mate. That's what I said. This time last week was my 40th birthday. Gary says, I know what you mean, John. I'm the same. Yes, Mark, you're absolutely right. Depression is very common these days. The problem is because people are turning against each other. People are being too ignorant and too selfish and not realizing their impact on other people. And that's what real depression is coming from, is not being valued as a person, not being respected as a person, and just being treated as a number, which we all know as West Ham supporters. We are treated as a number at the minute and have done for the last 7 or 8 years. And it's awful. It's absolutely awful. Oh, Mo says, you really are thought you have the same phone case as my dad. Highly doubt it. But yeah, you see, we us older people use our brains properly, mate. Yeah. You'll be doing the same thing after you finish college and all that. In a few years' time, you'll do exactly the same. You watch. You watch. John says, bye, guys. I'm going to make some Robson squash. Have a good evening, mate. You take care of yourself and don't put too much cordial in. You rot your teeth. Gary says he's 50 next year. I feel for you, fella. I think we talked about this the other night as well. Fo's in the chat. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else in the. Let's say ask questions. Fire away. Fire away. There's nothing really going on in the real world. There's nothing really to talk about, unfortunately. So, Mick Smith asks, should hear about ticket refunds within the next week or two. Hopefully, mate, this is doing my bloody head in. They really should be talking about what they're doing. It really is. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of stuff going around on Facebook to say that we're getting refunds, but there is nothing. And I repeat, nothing from any official sources at all. Nothing on the website. Not seen X say anything as well, for that matter. There's just absolutely nothing. So people are just jumping the gun, fear mongering. There's a lot, because there's some idiots have been saying on there that the second wave of the virus is coming. It's not in any shape or form. It's just people trying to make a name for themselves. Mark asks, John, favourite non-football YouTube channel? Mate, it's really difficult because there are loads of channels that I watch. I was talking to Charlie on Tuesday night off air, and I'm subscribed to 133 channels on YouTube. It's mental. But I only watch 4 or 5. But taking the West Ham thing out of it, my favourite YouTube channel is Corridor Crew. Brilliant content. They make fantastic videos. Even now, basically the majority of the stuff that they're doing is, and they have done for a good few years now, is they strip down how visual effects are made. It's really interesting watching how they come to the ideas that they do and stuff. It's fantastic. Either that or Cinemassacre as well, for that matter. They do a lot of movie reviews. That was originally the Angry Video Game Nerd. I've been watching a lot of that old content. They've been doing the channel for about almost 10 years, if not 10 years now. I know Corridor Crew are now 10 years old. These guys have been. This is why their subscriber rates are in the millions, because they got right involved in it right from the start, and they're just brilliant channels to watch. Sharon B says, life begins at 40, remember, it really isn't bad. I know, Dunning, I know. It bloody well better at some point, I tell you. JS says, buying game was boring and God knows what our match fitness will be like. That's the whole point, mate. This is why the managers are trying to delay the kickoff as long as possible to get players to get back to match fitness. Gary asks, what music do you like? Loads of different types, mate. Blues, jazz, folk, punk, funk, rock, traditional R&B, i.e. rhythm and blues. Loads of different music. Always. Neil asks, will Harry Redknapp buy Dagenham and Redbridge? No idea. No idea. Keep an eye out for it, obviously, when everything gets back to normal, what he's going to do. But I think it'd be quite a good idea if he did, because he was saying that he was looking to try and do a non-league stroke League One, League Two club. So that's why Football League, I should say, rather than one league. But yeah, it'd be. I think it'd be brilliant. I honestly think it'd be a good idea for him. Whoever he chooses, because he's a wheeler dealer, and that's the best type of people to bring into ownership. Fo says, JP, one realistic player you would like to target West Ham, barring Demarai Gray. It's a tricky one, that, actually. No, nobody's coming to mind, mate. Nobody really is coming to mind. I mean, possibly, maybe. No, nobody really. No, I can't think of anybody off the top of my hat that would legitimately, that I know of, that would actually improve the side, and that we would have a realistic chance of getting. Ben Davis says, James at Cinemassacre. Yeah, I watched his content. It is funny. He's a good bloke. And he says, going to have to run, JP. Catch you tomorrow. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Thanks for popping in. You're going off to have a plate of scouse now, are you? Mick says, do you think it would have been Survival Sunday or safe by now? That's a very good question, mate. I honestly thought it would go in. It would be down to the last game. I really do think. I think it really would have been Survival Sunday, mate. Really do. Armo says, JP, are you into conspiracy theories? No, I'm absolutely not. Gary's off as well. Good night, mate. Sleep well, you old man. See you later. And he says, family quiz. Cool. Get some West Ham questions in if you're quiz master. That'd be funny. Louis Madon, hello. Long time no see, mate. Do you think we will stay up if the season does start playing? As I was just talking about with Meg, I honestly think it's just gonna come down to the wire. I really do. Ben Davis says about the realistic player, Saint Maxim at Newcastle. The team needs more space, possibly more pace. Yes, I agree with that. Maxim could do a number for us. Yeah, I can see you thinking behind it. I don't really keep that much of a tabs. I mean, apart from the only time that I really watch another football team is when I'm doing my previews for the upcoming games. But Fo likes that. What a shout! Yeah, I wouldn't say no, man. I think he's a talented player. I think he's a talented player. Armo says, I love watching Alphonso Davies. He's Canadian. He's a teenager. He joined Bayern Munich's. His story is unbelievable. You got to check out his story, JP. Well, yeah, I'll have a look if I can find it anywhere. But yeah. So 45 minutes in, guys. So if there's anything else you want us to talk about, then we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll start wrapping it up. Otherwise, mates, guys, get your questions in. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to keep this as an hour as possible. But guys, obviously, let me know what you've been doing this weekend. Of course, for the majority of everybody watching, we've had some great great weather this weekend. Let me know what you guys have been doing. Bex is in. That's good to see you, hon. I hope you're feeling better. She says, I love Saint Maxim, very talented player. Speed on him, yeah. Darren says, safe by now, but what do I know? I predicted we would have finished 7th. Mate, I said we'd finished 9th. So, nothing. That's the thing about football, is nothing is ever as straightforward as it ever should be. And I mean, who would have thought this 12 months ago that we'd be in this situation now? Nobody, not one. So Bex, as you've come in late, any questions you got for us for the chat as well as me? Bex said we'd finish ninth. Phone made his move. But yeah. Okay, so guys, it looks like we're pretty much it looks like we're pretty much wrapped this up here, because I say there's not been much to talk about. It's been great talking to you guys as always and answering all your questions. But yeah, there's not much. Ooh, Bex, I got a question. Waiting with bated breath, my dear. Did I watch the Bundesliga today? No, I didn't, hun. I watched it yesterday. I watched Dortmund, Schalke. But yeah, no, I didn't watch it today. As I said at the beginning of this, wasn't that bad. Come on, it wasn't that bad. As I said at the start of the stream, I haven't watched any football today because I'm Bundesliga. I wasn't interested yesterday. I really wasn't. It was entertaining to watch it, but I just thought I've got better things to do. Because I have no vested interest in any of those football teams. I really, really don't. But yeah, but once we get a bit more. I mean, because Spain are coming out of Spain have got some really good ideas of what they're doing nationally. So if La Liga starts, then I might start watching that. Rick, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. That's very, very kind of you. Very kind of you. Mark says, is there any talk of finishing the FA Cup or Champions League? There is talk about the Champions League. They're trying to get it done in July, I think. July or August, something like that. But it's different. But Rebecca says, yeah, I know it's our new normal, but it is strange. Fo says, stand-up player outside top 4 in Bundesliga this weekend. Guys, answer that question. I have no bloody clue. I've only watched one game. Lou, so did you see how crap the goal celebration was for what game? And my mate, yeah, great. He's an absolute legend. He's lovely. He always is donating. I've told him he's a bloody Patreon. Stop doing it, but he likes. He's obviously got cash to burn, so that's fine. Yeah. Your wife, you're talking about July. I thought it was. Thanks, Bex. Tone says on YouTube they actually play live La Liga second division games during the season. It's pretty decent and free football. Cool. I'll check that out if and when that comes back up. Ben says if it's not West Ham or England playing, then I'm not particularly interested in watching football. I'm exactly the same. I just thought it'd be interesting to try and see it. Jayaz says, when this is all over, will you be having a Chinese or Indian meal? You mean as in going to the restaurants, because you can still buy food for delivery. Yeah, it'd be interesting, but probably go out for a Ruby. Definitely go out for a Ruby. Ian's back. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Only good thing about Bundesliga returning is something to bet on. That's probably very, very true. Grandad Smith, bath times. Keep up the good work, JP. Thanks, Mick. And say hello to Granny Smith for me as well. I've been called that was my nickname for a long, long time before you two became grandparents. Beck says, what do you think about this season ticket situation, John? I think that they need to be very clear. The club needs to be very clear as to what they're going to be doing with our money, quite frankly. As Andy said the other week, the other day, you can see it going to club cash, and I can't disagree. And I really, really don't want that. Really, really don't want that at all. Um, it is just it's awful. I don't know. The last thing I want to do is I'd write. A lot of people have been asking for a discount for next season ticket, but there's a very good chance we'll only have to get half season tickets the way things are going. Um, mm, Beck says 14 clubs said what they're going to do. West Ham isn't one of them, surprisingly. Yeah, we're always late to the party. I mean, so are you, for that matter. So, but yeah, we're always late to the party when it comes to anything. If it's club cash, there'll definitely be more protests. Agreed. I don't like buying anything from the club unless I absolutely, really, really like the stuff. Like, for example, broadcast I did the other day when we got the proper Admiral FA Cup final shirt. I really, really loved that. But other than that, there's nothing else I wanted to buy from them at all. I mean, also got the home and away kits that I did for the preview of it. But yeah. Tone says, well, yeah, didn't even think of that. Betting companies will massively struggle. God knows if we have Betway next season. That's a good point, Tone. They are massively, massively fine from an accounting point of view, because there's always stuff to put bets on. There's bets on the. I think there would have been bets on the darts the other day. There would have been there's bets on UFC. There's probably bets, because let's not forget Betway cover the entire globe. They're not. There might be a UK-based company, but their betting strategy is literally worldwide. So that there'll always be bets to put on. There'll be bets for Charlie to put for the WWE. There'll be bets for. Let's say UFC for that matter. They'll be fine. They'll be taking money from everybody all over the dress. Beck says they'll announce a new kit, then tell the season ticket holders it's club cash. Only no GS, Gold, Sullivan, and Brady. Very possibly. Very, very possibly. Oh, sorry, Bex, to see that you've dislocated your hip again. Sorry to hear that, hon. So yeah, no in GSB. Yeah. Okay, so Armo, what are you doing? What? The JP intro song. Never gonna happen. Never gonna ever gonna happen. But I like the idea. Thanks, mate. That's very kind of you. Tone says, watched the Maradona movie the other day on Prime. Was brilliant. Anyone else seen any good sports movies or documentaries on Netflix or Prime? Tone, go and watch, if you haven't already, go and watch All or Nothing about Man City. That was really good. Behind the Badge, about West Brom under Tony Pulis. That was good. I'm really trying to get into that Leeds United program. Really try. I just can't get into it. I just get bored very, very quickly. John says, what's your usual format on here when football is on? Good question, Mark. No pun intended. But my usual content is previews and match day reactions. Either away games, live watch along with, or home games. I do a live reaction video. Now, obviously, any games for the remaining seasons will be both they will both be hopefully be away. Sorry, hopefully both the live home and away games will be a live watch along with. But yeah, so keep this up, Mark. Keep subscribed, because we'll get stuff back very, very soon. Rebecca said, did you hear 20% off the shop? I've only got 2 texts and 5 emails. Yeah, I know. It's like, I literally had one of the texts while we did a stream the other night. I literally went, oh, what's this breaking news? And yeah, it was the text saying 20% off. Yeah. Almost isn't. Have a good day. I'm out, mate. Enjoy your afternoon. Hope you have a good one. Next one says all or nothing is great. Yeah, really, really enjoy it. And dirty leads. Don't ask. All or nothing. Okay, brilliant. That's one I started this. Boca Juniors one on Netflix was okay. I couldn't get into the Michael Jordan one, but I'm not a basketball fan. I loved Michael Jordan when I was younger. Really, really did. Yeah, Louis makes a good point. Virtual betting too. They'll be fine. Talking about Betway. Mark says, good. Looking forward to watching with you all. Yeah, the chat gets quite funny. I mean, these chats are relatively quite tame in comparison to what live chats are like. We do have a good laugh. We do have a good laugh. Nick's as do you have any tattoos? No, Nick. I was asked this the other day, but no, I don't. They don't interest me at all. I'm not a tattoo person. I just, never have done. I came very close when I was 18, 19. I came very close to having one, but no, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, as I say, because I don't find them attractive. I don't find some of them are absolutely beautiful. I've seen some really, really nice tattoos. But yeah, it's not for me. Piff Jane, are you saying we aren't funny? Wait, listen. Don't twist it round, Bex. Come on, behave yourself. Henry said JP should be the halftime entertainment. My shooting accuracy is not brilliant, mate. That game cracks me up. It really, really does for the football. But no, I wouldn't. I'll be terrible at that game. But I know what you mean. Thanks, mate. But yeah, so okay. So anything else before we wrap this one up? Well, Fo says, I'm partial to a retro shirt. Well, Fo, if you like retro shirts, mate, there's a link in the description below for the channel sponsor, 3retro.com. It's been a long time since I've done it. You get some retro shirts, and also that really, really nice retro shirts. Not just West Ham as well, for that matter. There's loads of England stuff. There's other European leagues in there as well. I think there's a few US stuff in there. Just watch it. Just watch it. Just go and have a look at the link. I think you enjoy it. Martin says, great show, JP. Catch you tomorrow. All right, mate. Yeah, so we'll say we're going to pretty much wrap this up now. But guys, thanks very much for watching as always. If you're new to the channel, as I said, by all means, please do subscribe. The more people we subscribe, the closer we get to the 1600 mark, and we get the live gig that I promised you guys to do. It's understandable there's not many people subscribing to this channel at the moment because it's still relatively small, and the YouTube algorithm kills it for new people. But you guys find it, you do find it originally. By all means, guys, like this video if you've enjoyed it, because the more likes this video gets, the more advertising it gets on YouTube as well, for that matter. But guys, thank you very much for your time. Louis off for his dinner. All the best, mate. Hope to see you again soon. And I'll be going off now. Nick asks, mate, when you did the 3 retro, was it always pre-recorded, and did you say the whole thing every time? For the previews, yes, I said it every single time. That's why the shirts match. But yeah, it says Mark says wine time. But guys, I say thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow night at 6:30 as always. So all the best. Take care. Look after yourselves.